Hello, I'm Kerry from Oregon.
And I'm Regina from Atlanta, and
And
we are Wine Sisters Divine.
yes, we are, my wine sister, recording on a
Yes,
very,
so we are online celebrating Juneteenth.
we are, and so excited that it's become a federal holiday. I mean,
Amazing. Today, our president signed in that Juneteenth is an actual federal holiday. Is that amazing or what?
I think that deserves a big cheer.
Cheers.
Cheers to that. Beautiful, beautiful sentiment.
So we need to talk about what that means. So Juneteenth, we had several slaves who did not know that they were actually free 2 years prior. And so this is the total emancipation and freedom of the slaves. So no more slaves after this date, June 19th. And why would we celebrate that? I mean,
And they had to wait 2 years. They had to wait 2 years to find out they were free.
absolutely. Absolutely. Is that not like the most ridiculous concept
Yes.
ever?
But then the Juneteenth became, the actual
And
time.
I have to tell you, I was not taught Juneteenth as a history lesson. I was taught a lot of other things that were, prevalent in the history lesson, but this was not taught. And I don't think it has been taught because I don't know but I just know I did not learn about Juneteenth until many years later. It was not a part of my elementary school history lesson.
Even though you're an African American woman and that's the history, I mean,
I learned a lot of other
I
things
didn't either.
about American history, but this was not one of them.
So it's great that it is now,
Absolutely.
and
And
should have been a long time ago.
absolutely. Exactly.
Well, and the significance of it is really that we get to have a federal holiday in perpetuum now from now on. We celebrate
Exactly.
Martin Luther King Day
Mhm.
and other holidays, and Juneteenth is going to be up there as it should be.
As it should be, because that is, if you can think about all of slaves and what human being has the right to enslave another human being? No one,
No one.
right? So the fact that, these people who didn't know they were already free, who shouldn't have been in captivity or slaves to begin with, are free 2 years later.
Right. And yeah, I mean, the fact that they even had to endure slavery for the several hundred years before that is, something nobody really even wants to, no one even wants to say. I don't want to say the word slavery. It's just, but the fact that we are bringing this forward as a truth in a positive way, it still doesn't erase the fact that it existed. I mean,
No, it's a part of the history,
right.
whether it was on the right or the wrong side, and nobody wants to be on the wrong side of history.
No.
Let's call a thing a thing. It is what it is. We had slavery, which should never happen. No human being has the right to enslave any other human being. So when we talk about this, Juneteenth, it's a celebration, actually. And, you know, we're wine people, so
We are
I
one people.
want to talk about, brown estates.
Let's see that beautiful label. Oh yeah, when you put your hand over there, you can see the label like that. Nice. Really amazing. That is, I think, my favorite label of all time.
It is. It really represents diversity. And Brown Estates is the first African American vineyard in Napa Valley. I mean, Napa is huge, in the wine industry. And to think that the Brown Estate was able to nestle themselves in a place that was, I would not call it the place of diversity, and do very well. This Chardonnay is fantastic. Lots of tropical fruits. It is one of the best sellers in my shop at Courts and Cuvée. And I just want to give you the
Look at that, it's so beautiful. The graphics and you can see, I mean, the flowers and the everything.
everything. So it really just gives you a sense of diversity, just everybody included in this space. So,
And House of Brown is the first Black-owned winery, I think, in Napa Valley. Is that right?
correct.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So they were the flagship. I mean,
They were the flagship, and they were the people who, forged the way for others.
and you have it in your store. So here we have this House of Brown really setting this, this being holding the torch and building this amazing House of Brown winery. And then here you are in Atlanta at your wine store, and you have House of Brown right there.
We sell a ton of it, and we love being able to have this brand in our shop.
And that's Chardonnay, right?
Yes, absolutely. Beautiful, just light tropical fruits. Just done in an amazing way. That's different than anything else that's on our shelves. So we salute the House of Brown for their new Chardonnay.
Here's the House of Brown. How amazing. And I love the name, and I love the graphics, and I love everything about it. And really, they're everything about them is really quite amazing.
Yeah, they are. And they do tours, and they have amazing space in Napa. So if you're ever in the space of Napa, go visit House of Brown. I mean, they are amazing.
Wow, that's right. And I love the fact that here we are on two different coasts. Here we are. I am on the in Oregon on the West Coast, and here you are in Atlanta, and we're talking about our this amazing House of Brown in California, and kind of makes me proud just to be an American with all of those
Exactly.
and nationwide.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And there's other Black-owned wine brands too that we celebrate all the time on our show.
Absolutely. So I have in Courts and Cuvée, we have several. We support Flow for the Love of, and that's Marcus Johnson. He has a Moscato and a Red Blend and a Chardonnay that we sell on a regular basis. We have Lafite du Rosé, and that is a beautiful, so spectacular rosé, coming from the south of France. Is beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful. And then we also have the McBride sisters. So I don't know if you know the history or story behind them.
Tell me a little bit more about that too. That story is amazing. So Lafite is amazing too. I mean,
so the sisters grew up separately. They had same fathers, different mothers, and they connected as adults and created this amazing brand called McBride Sister Collections. And then most recently, they've come out with a Black Girl Magic. So they have a bubbly, sparkling brut, and then they have a Riesling, a rosé, and a red blend out of that collection. We have been selling McBride Sisters because I love their Chardonnay and I love their Sauvignon Blanc. It's fantastic. And then longevity, Phil Long. He is a best friend of Courts and Cuvée. We've been selling those wines for a very long time. And you really need to Google that story. So go Google longevity wines. And we have their Cabernet Sauvignon and their Chardonnay.
And he was the president, or he's current president.
He was the president. He is the president of the African American Vintners Association. So If you think about vintners, the winemakers, so he is the president, and he was on every broadcast in Black History Month this year in 2021.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing.
Yeah, yeah. And then we also have Mary J. Blige. We have her wines in our
Okay.
yes, and then John Legend actually has wines that are distributed in Georgia.
Yes.
LVE,
And Mary J. Blige is
Sun Goddess.
Sun Goddess. That's it.
Hmm. She has a Sauvignon Blanc and a Pinot Grigio.
Uh,
The Pinot Grigio is my absolute favorite.
me too. Me
It
too.
has a little like a little hint of maceration on the with the skins, so it has this little highlight of pink. It's very nice, lovely.
That, I mean, all of those brands, it makes me want to go out and have a whole like summer picnic, with the whole like
Mhm.
array of all of the labels and the representation today when we're talking about Juneteenth and the significance of the fact that we have these amazing labels, made all over the United States and internationally too. I mean,
Oh yeah,
is
absolutely. Because Lafitte Rosé is coming out of the south of France.
and also has quite a following with Delta Airlines. I understand that Delta Airlines has picked up Lafitte and now it's huge, like blown up in the
Totally huge,
yeah.
and Delta Airlines, I think it will be carrying Lafitte du Rosé, and they have just totally blown up, and we're so excited for Thurston, and we couldn't be more happy.
That's right. And I think he's been on the Good Morning. I mean, yeah, the Good
He's
Morning.
been on several outlets, definitely over the Black African American Month, Black History Month, and so he has been great. I mean, I met him in my shop. He is a fantastic person, and I think that his wines are awesome. So that's the reason why we brought them into Courts and Cuvée, because he was just so very personable, and the wines were amazing.
Yeah. Wow. And that, I mean, just to see that to his label take off and do all those wonderful things is a testament to all the hard work I'm sure he's put into the whole thing.
Right. And so, we think about the wine industry, we're not used to seeing black and brown faces, or other faces in that realm. But I think things are opening up for us, and I'm very happy to see that.
They are. And I know that you and I have had conversations too, and coming back to our Juneteenth theme, and you and I have had conversations about, really the last since Juneteenth happened. Was it 1860? Must have been 66. Was it
Mhm.
66 or
Yeah.
it was 1866, wasn't it? So um, it being out here in Oregon at the end of the Oregon Trail reminds me of something that I have talked to you about too, which is my great 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 grandmother who came out on the second Federal Wagon train from Kentucky, and had and I hesitate. I don't like to use this word at all because it's so horrific. But she had a slave girl named Tilly who was 12, and when she was going to come to Oregon and they were getting ready to go, she actually set Tilly free and said that you can have your freedom. And this was 1844, 20 years before the Civil War. So I'm obviously um, very thankful that she said those things, but Tilly did not want to stay in Kentucky and she wanted to go to Oregon. And so she followed for 3 days the wagon train and caught up with it on foot. And my great 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 grandmother, Frances McDaniel, said, "All right, Tilly, you're going to come and be part of the family," and took her out here and raised her as her own in Oregon. So there's a profound connection I feel to Juneteenth right now that's really powerful. And the connection with you and I as friends, here we are in 2021, having these discussions about diversity and celebrating Juneteenth. There's something really powerful right now happening, I feel, with you and I and our Wine Sisters program. And I think about just this really powerful connection, and really happy that Joe Biden has made this a federal holiday, as it should be.
Absolutely. And I think that, once we can be able and comfortable telling the truth,
Right? And saying the slavery word, which is a hard word to say.
although the truth can be hurtful,
It's the truth.
it doesn't
Right.
feel good all the time, but the truth is the truth. And the call a thing, it may not be comfortable for a lot of people to say, my ancestors had slaves.
No.
It's not comfortable, right? It's not a thing that you want to identify with today, right? In 2021, but it was a thing then, right? So I think as long as we are able to tell the whole complete truth, the right gut truth, as a young Lon Van Zant would say,
Right.
we can be okay. But
That's
you
right.
gotta tell the truth about the thing, and you can't justify what happened. You just gotta tell the truth about the thing that actually did happen, and not justify it.
That's right. And the good news is, the truth is that my forebears actually set their slaves free and took them as their own family. So that's the
And
happy.
that's very different than a lot of people who had slaves. A
Right.
lot of people who had slaves, they killed them and raped them, and a lot of things. I mean, we're talking about the truth here, so
It's the truth. It
it's
is the
hard to
truth.
hear. It's hard to hear, right? It really is. It's not like the thing you want to say, but it's the thing that happened. And so I love Frances for the fact she was, very forward thinking and progressive in her thinking in that time. And so, yeah, cheers to that.
Cheers to that. And flash forward to where we are right now, Regina, in 2021. I want to end with this: the profound, really powerful truth of the fact of you and I raising, and amplifying the commonalities that you and I have just as people with each other. We have so many things in common. And here in 2021,
More common than not, like more
right,
common than not having things in common.
right, we're both daddy's girls, I mean, just and our commonalities in the wine world, which is, so many of them, and many other things. I mean, I think the fact that we're sitting here in 2021 and we're celebrating the fact that Juneteenth is a federal holiday, I think that deserves a big cheer. So,
Yes.
all right, my sister,
Cheers to that.
cheers to that. Love you like a sister.
Love you more.
Celebrating Juneteenth.
Celebrate Juneteenth.
Celebrating Juneteenth. And this
Uh,
has been Wine Sisters of the Vine.
very,
Another,
I'm just so happy to be here coming from Atlanta, and Gary's coming from Oregon. And stay tuned for our future episodes.
here we are. Cheers.
Cheers.